Man, oh man, another drama-filled day for this team. It just doesn't end ever with them. It really doesn't, and it's getting to a point where I'm just exhausted right now with talking about this team 24/7, ranting about this team 24/7, but it just doesn't end the drama. It doesn't at all, and I don't even know anymore, man. I really don't. This is getting to a point where I don't know how much longer Chris Drury could wait around to do something, because right now the cloud over this team's head is so bad. I feel it as a fan. For some reason, it doesn't feel like the players feel it, or at least most of the players, I should say, which we'll get into that, because this leadership group once again displaying the fact that they are just putrid. I mean, there's no if, ands, buts about it. There's no way around it. This leadership group once again showing us yesterday and today why we have our doubts and why they piss us off. Before we jump into everything, please be sure to leave a like on your way into the live stream, or if you guys are watching on replay, any of that stuff. Don't forget to subscribe if you guys are new to the channel. This is going to be more of a laid back stream, as we are literally just ranting and rambling about this team, the leadership group, how piss poor they are, how much they annoy me, how much I want some of these guys gone. But we got a lot to get into, because there is just so much that's happening. This team is the headline. They are the number one headline right now in the NHL. After that Elliot Freeman tweet dropped, it has been nothing but Rangers centric all over the timeline on Twitter. It is strictly just Rangers conversation right now. And that just goes to show you right now where we're at. And last night, I didn't get to talk about this because I ended my live stream. But I remembered it, or I saw it this morning when somebody tweeted about it, or it was like a little bit of a snippet from an article about, here, let me find the exact thing, because I actually screenshotted it on my phone this morning, and I do also need to get something ready for the stream that I do want to get into, because we got a lot to talk about here today. This is going to be probably a decently long stream, because, man, the drama with this team right now it's unreal where we are. But here it is. In the post-game dressing room, the only players who wear a captain's or alternate's letter that addressed the media was Panarin. Trouba, Trocheck, Zibanejad, and Fox weren't available. So we got guys right now that are ducking the media. After what came out yesterday, after all the drama this summer, especially with the guy who's wearing number 8, after everything that has transpired this offseason, these guys are too scared to get in front of the microphone and answer some questions to the media. I feel so bad right now for Alexi Lafreniere, Will Cooley, and every other guy on this team that is willing to sit in their stall after the game and go to the media and take questions. Meanwhile, you got the leadership group who's kicking back with their feet up on the couch, not giving a fuck, night in and night out. And it's just the same thing every single night from them. I mean, I feel bad for these guys. I really do, because it's to a point where it's not fair to them, because they are getting a lot of the heat. They have to answer these questions, while the leadership group that should be answering this, and who I'd want to hear from, they just sit back. And especially a guy like Jacob Trouba, who, again, was in trade rumors this offseason, was in trade rumors the other day. You can't stand in front of your stall and answer a couple questions, and he did today, but it took... The fact that he couldn't do it last night is just beyond pathetic. And then you have Mika Zibanejad not showing up for optional practice today, which, by the way, I know that teams are limited on the amount of practices they could do throughout a season, but after last night's effort, today's one of those days it should have been mandatory. But even if it's not, how do you not show up to practice after the way you played last night? Don't you want to do it for the guy next to you in the locker room? Don't you want to do it for the team that you allegedly love playing for? Don't you want to do it for those guys? I at least thought. But when your card on Evolving Hockey looks like this, and you're not showing up to practice, it's a terrible look. And I'll flash that card up one more time so you guys can get a good look at it. Here you go, everyone. The center making $8.5 million. And this too. Do it for the fans. Do it for the guy next to you in the locker room. I mean, we're asking for the bare minimum of you to show up to your job and practice. And again, I don't know what's going on with him personally in life, because obviously there are things that are above hockey, but you are performing the way you are, and you're expected to show up and give your all night in and night out for this organization, and you're skipping practices. I don't like that one bit. I don't like it at all. But I also tweeted this earlier today that I do want to. I'm sorry I'm getting distracted here a little bit. I'm trying to get a video clip up that I wanted to have ready for the stream that I completely forgot to. So bear with me on that. But where was I going? Oh yeah, I tweeted this earlier. How as much as I was not confident going into the season, as much as my expectations were low, this team has somehow gone lower than my expectations. And it's very sad. It really is sad if you think about it, because I figured, all right, this team would probably finish top 2 or 3 and they'll probably lose in the second round. That was my prediction. Right now, I can't sit here and say this team is going to make the playoffs. They are just simply not good, and the guys in the room don't care. It at least seems that way to me. What else did I forget to jump into today? Because there is a lot. Do I want to? No, I don't want to get to the video clip yet. I want to wait for that one. There was a thing from Kyle Hall saying, following Elliot Friedman's Rangers trade rumors yesterday, I asked around about Trouba. Apparently, he would prefer to go to the Western Conference. One source believes Dallas, Vegas, and Minnesota could be fits. Rangers will most likely need to retain salary to make it happen. I can't understand why this couldn't happen in the summer, but again, if it does happen now, see you later. And I had people telling me that, well, his wife's residency didn't expire until December. It's easier to move for after that happens than while it's going on. And my counter to that is this. There are guys, multiple. There are, how many was it? 24 teams, right? 24 teams of over 30 guys on the rosters because of the taxi squad that went to Edmonton and Toronto during the bubble to compete for the Stanley Cup during a rough time, and those guys had families. You're telling me those guys could do that and go to war for a Stanley Cup, but he can't leave when things are not in lockdown right now? He can't leave to go somewhere else for 20-something games, and then his family can move with him, but now all of a sudden he can move? And the funniest thing was when he said, when he made the comment about how it's not in his control if he gets traded to a team that's not on his no trade list. Then how come you went out of your way this offseason to have your brass, your agency, leak that you wouldn't report to teams that are not on your no trade list if you were traded to one of them? How come you had that leaked? If that's out of your control. Clearly it is in your control. Just pathetic. He is completely checked out. I mean, there was that clip going around when there was the scrum at the end of the second period, and the body language of him and Zibanejad just putrid. You have Zibanejad just skating around, and Jacob Trouba, for a guy who wears a C and is supposed to be throwing bodies around, late to the party in that entire scenario. I just can't understand this. And then there's the whole thing about how Jacob Trouba didn't hear from Chris Drury, hasn't spoke to him since those reports came out. But what else is there that I'm missing from my timeline that I vented about? Because there's just so much that's going on. And then there's the Frank Saravalli clip where he's talking about how he thinks that this is all smoke instead of fire. I don't know if I buy that still. I really don't know if I buy that. And I'm not going to dispute someone that has inside sources compared to what I know, because obviously I know way less than Frank Saravalli. But I just refuse to believe that they put the idea of sending a message to every team in the league that those guys are on the market if there wasn't substance to it. But there's also this side of the coin to it that friend of the program at Bald Panarin on Twitter brought up. And he said, is Drury going to do anything this time or keep on running it back? This is getting exhausting. Going into the season, knowing it was the last time for the core, but at the same time, knowing it wasn't good enough already is fireable. He's right. I don't understand how this guy is still around right now. And quite frankly, I think he doesn't have the right to strip this thing down and move on from this core. I don't think he should have the right to do it, because you live by the core and die by the core here. If you are so willing to roll the dice with this core, then you should be taking the axe with them, because you should be going down with the ship here. It should not be a thing where Chris Drury gets off the hook for trying one more time with these guys and trying to believe in them, giving them multiple second chances, mind you, and giving them the belief multiple times. He didn't go all in at the deadline like he could have last year because he quote unquote believed in these guys. He should be taking the fall with them if this is the case. And the fact that it's this back and forth of do we blow up the core, do we not, is just stupid. What are we talking about here? Because it's clear as day there is a problem here. The body language tells you it all. The compete level tells you it all. And when we should have known, and this is where the video clip comes in, when we should have known that this core needed to get broken up, is when Gerard Gallant, I keep referring it, I finally have the video clip for you guys. Gerard Gallant, after they got eliminated by New Jersey, had this to say in his post-game, or it might have been the exit interview. I think this was the post-game after Game 7, but I got to throw the headphones on. Let's take a listen to what he said.
Feel like a missed opportunity, but when you look at the talent that you have in your room, does it just intensify
Well,
that
talent doesn't
feeling?
mean a thing. Talent, it's great to have talent, but when you got to play together and work hard together, and obviously the 4 games that we lost, we had 2 goals. So that's the bottom line. I mean, you're not going to win if you get 2 goals in 4 games that you lost. We scored 5 in the other ones that we won, and like I said, I love to have talent, but you love to have a work ethic and more forecheck and stuff like that, and we just didn't get it done.
And the fact that after he said that, the core whined, this group of players whined to Chris Drury and got him fired the next day. That should have been the warning sign, the sign of all signs that something's not right with this group. Because if they can't give a work ethic like Gallant alluded to, then why are we wasting time? They couldn't win last year with a new coach to spite Gallant. They couldn't win to spite Quinn. They couldn't win last night after trade rumors. We're done here. At what point do you just say we're done here? Because what more could you do? I said it last night and I'll say it again. You've tried everything. What is there left to try? Because I'm genuinely speechless and at a loss for words with what you could do anymore. There's really nothing left. You're at a point where you're just doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result, and it needs to end. Because I don't know how you continue to look at the body language, look at the trends, look at what's going on, and say, you know what? One more chance. When they should have had just their one more chance about 5 one more chances ago. One more chance became like 5 more chances. And another thing is this, too. I find it absolutely hilarious how the media is going around all stunned and everything. And now that the trade rumor dropped from Elliot Freeman, now everyone's pointing out from the media how this team is overachieving and how they are playing poor, when literally the night before, I had Jackie Redmond in my mentions quote tweeting me, bringing up the record, the back-to-back conference finals, and now all of a sudden the record's not good enough, the back-to-back conference finals mean nothing, and all of a sudden the media is on our side here. It's funny that now all of a sudden that they have an opportunity to generate clicks, and now that they have an opportunity to start trade rumors and potentially push trades to happen further, so they have a story to write and a conversation to start, now all of a sudden they want to jump on the opportunity. Okay, I see how that one is. Stop acting like you're Buff fans. Get the fuck out of here with that bullshit. Just get out of here. But there is seriously not a lot left you could do. And I do think that Chris Drury has to go. And I've said it for a long time now, but you have to do it. And it has to be. I want to reiterate this point. As much as I want Chris Drury to go, if they hire someone from the inside of the organization, that's counterproductive. They need to find someone outside the organization to be the general manager of this team. And I got asked earlier, who would that be? Who could you want? Well, right now, the guy that I would want after doing a bit of research, Rich Peverly out of Dallas. He's done a lot of work there. He's their director of scouting, the guy who, I don't know if you know, had some unreal finds, because I don't know if you've been paying attention, but the Dallas Stars are good at this thing called drafting, and they got guys like Wyatt Johnston through their system thanks to a guy like him. They got guys like Jason Robertson to develop well because of a guy like him. Thomas Harley's in that organization. That's right now who I would want. I'd have to research more candidates for the job, but those are guys that I would really, really like. That's a guy, I should say, that I would really like, but I'd have to look at more options out there. But all I know is that I don't think Chris Drury has the right, or he shouldn't have the right at least, to take the score down. Because if he gave this core as many chances as he did, he can't be here. He has too much of an attachment. If he's seriously going back and forth about blowing up the core versus not, if that Frank Saravalli thing is true, where he's going back and forth about it, he has to go yesterday. Because you cannot have this guy going back and forth in his mind about if he should break them up or not. You need someone to come in that will be cutthroat and move these guys without hesitation. And I would go as far to say this too. I agree. Clean house. But I'm going to get to the chat now since I haven't yet. So leave a like if you haven't already. Subscribe, all that stuff. I'm sorry for going live at a random time here on a Tuesday afternoon. I just have a lot on my mind about this team. It's been building up all day. I would have went live earlier, was busy, so let's see what you guys are saying right now in the chat. Maybe I'll do call-ins if you guys want me to as well. You guys let me know on that one, but let's see. Where do I think Trouba goes? I have no clue, and quite frankly, I don't care as long as he's out of here. Who would we even trade for? No clue. No clue. And yeah, it is going to be a long holiday weekend. This team looks checked out. Trouba sounds like... yeah. I mean, the guy's a joke of a captain. And this is it. The fact that none of the players were available with letters on their jersey, but Lafreniere took questions, tells you all you need to know. It tells you who cares and who doesn't. I mean, you see it on a nightly basis. Who gives a fuck and who doesn't? And I feel bad for them right now. And yeah. You can't bitch and moan about your ice time and not show up to optional practice when you're performing that poorly. McDonough, Zuccarello, Stepan would never. Miss that core right now with how much trauma there is here. This shit's just annoying. Has this organization divided the room badly? I have no clue on that. I have zero clue. Here are the defensive stats. Slot shots against, 29th. Ranked chances against, 31st. Expected goals against, ranked 28th. No team will win with these hard defensive metrics. It's bad. They are in San Jose Sharks territory of bad. I had low expectations, and they're even stooping lower than what mine were. They are somehow worse than what I thought they were going to be. And I had very low expectations. Or at least for this group, I had low expectations. And for some reason, I'm still mad. And I don't know why I'm even mad in the first place when I saw this coming from a mile away. I guess it's because at the end of the day, I do care and I'm pissed off still about the fact that I was right about this group. But because at the end of the day, I want nothing more than to be wrong. But I sure as hell wasn't. And I'm still mad, even though, again, I saw it coming. And yeah, if Drury thinks one trade's going to fix this, it's laughable. And yeah, he shouldn't be allowed to make the trades. Yeah, after the Panthers series. It was post-game after Game 7. Okay, that's what I thought. If this is the case, we have bigger problems. We have really, really big problems if this is the case. That opens up a whole nother avenue that I didn't even think about. So I actually like this comment a lot. But if this is the case, I mean, this is a really huge problem. I mean, we're fucked here then. 4 coaches in 5 years. Yeah, basically the Herb Brooks quote. Messier, no. Messier should not be the guy. The way that he and everyone else was back checking on the empty netter was hilarious last night. I mean, that summed it up. Another thing I forgot to mention, Schneider and Miller, when they collided into the bench and it led to that rush against, if the Blues scored there, poetic. It would have been so poetic there if they scored there, because that would have summed up the Rangers season in a nutshell. Yeah, Macklin Celebrini's fun to watch. I'm going to put the link in the chat, though, to bring some callers in. So if you guys do want to call in, you guys could go ahead and do that. Let me just... There we go. I'll put the link in the chat if you guys want to call in to the show for today. Just to get more opinions here, because this is just beyond infuriating right now with this group. I just feel lost as a fan right now. I really do. Team hasn't done shit since Dolan has owned the team. I know. And that's what does make it a fair question. If this does have to do with him wanting to run it back. But again, if that's the case, we're in really big trouble here. Glenn Sather's gone, though, now. Glenn Sather is long gone from the organization. But let's start to bring in some callers. Let's go to Mike NYR for life, the king of the Mika's dog shit line. What's going on?
Hey.
What's going on, Mike? How you doing?
Fox has been playing like ass all season. His NMC kicks in next season. I'm on the trade Fox camp. Wiley still has value. I mean, I don't know what to say. Let him live his best life as a DJ. He's clearly not interested in playing hockey anymore. Could he look more disinterested?
I don't know if you're cutting out, or did you have more on that point?
Let me try my headset to see if that fixes the echo.
All right, I'm going to go to the next caller, then I'll bring you back in while you fix that, because I don't want to keep everyone else waiting right now. But let's go to Raymond. Raymond, what's going on?
What's going on, Evan? You already know, man. It's another day of the circus with this team, man. It's gonna be quite a week. And I ain't gonna lie. See, we can make trade moves happen, right? But the $1 million question is, who's gonna take that salary cap room? Kreider has a cap room till 2027, but the thing is, who is willing to take that money?
I think,
and that's where
Kreider's
it's gonna get tricky for the Rangers.
I think Kreider's a guy they could realistically move. Trouba, and if Mika, God willingly, waives his no trade clause, I mean, those are the contracts I'm more worried about a team, if they would even take it.
Yeah, I mean, they're saying Ottawa is in the works with to make a move happen with this team, but at this point, I'd rather see the young core and just go on a rebuild, because I'm just done with this era. We already had a couple of Eastern Conference final appearances, and apparently that's success. No, it's not. We've been overdue for a Stanley Cup, and this team this year does not want to go. You saw it last night. At this point, all the leadership group, they just got to go. They don't want it. They don't have the fire, the hunger. Give it to somebody else that wants to play in New York, because we are fed up.
Yeah. Do you have anything else to add before I get to the next caller?
I'm going to pray for me, you, and every Ranger fan tomorrow, because I know the Hurricanes are going to come with a vengeance.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you for calling in, Raymond. I appreciate it.
No problem, man. Anytime, bro.
Yeah, pretty much said everything that I've been mentioning on a daily basis, it feels like. The body language isn't there. These guys are checked out. It's just putrid. But let's go to the man, Dave. If he lets me pull him. There we go. What's going on?
What's going on, Evan? How you doing?
Doing all right outside of this team, but how you doing, man?
Okay, going back to work now. Just sucks being a Ranger fan right now and seeing this team where they are after getting within 2 wins of the Stanley Cup Finals last year, and then we had a stupid first round exit, and then the year before that, getting within two wins of the Stanley Cup Finals against Tampa. So it's just sad that this is happening to us. It feels like it's never going to end up. We're never going to get anywhere with this team. I'm just tired of this core. I should say the leadership is just not being leaders. Like this is something that Mike Keenan would have flipped out on this '94. Mark Messier would not stand for this type of lack of leadership in this group. It's something got to give. It's not going to be a snap of the fingers and one trade fixes everything. It's going to be a process because Mika's no trade, Kruger's no trade, Fox is no trade. Not that I really think Fox is the problem. I think Kreider is definitely the easiest one that can be moved right now because 6.5 against the cap, 2 years left. I don't know. And then you have the situation with Igor and his contract. If he's going to get what he wants, is play going to end up bringing down his cost. Then we continue to see what happens going on.
Yeah. Do you have anything else to add before I go to the next caller?
Real quick. People are very quick to blame Drury, and I understand the frustration. And while I'm not absolving him of everything that's going on here, I'm not going to put the sole blame on him either. You got to remember, that he inherited this core from Jeff Horton after he was fired. So was John Davidson after the Tom Wilson incident, and he hasn't really had a chance to really put his stamp on this team outside of, finagling the cap to bring in bottom 6 players, which really isn't much of a stamp on a team, if you ask me, but that's what he really has aside from signing Zibanejad and Fox. I don't know. The jury's still out on Drury yet, but right now it's not looking too good.
Yeah, I agree with that. Do you have anything else to add?
Screw the Devils and screw the Hurricanes.
Hopefully. I appreciate you calling in, Dave.
No problem.
I appreciate that. But I agree with a good amount of what was said there, that it doesn't fully go on Drury, but I still stand by the fact that Drury deserves a lot of blame because it's Joey on Ice Cold Takes phrased this the best. The reason Drury gets criticism is more about what he didn't do versus what he did. And obviously the Buchnevich trade is one of those things he did that is just still not forgiven right now. But in terms of the things that he didn't do, he didn't get aggressive to get Jack Eichel when the warning signs were there with Mika. He didn't get aggressive when Matthew Tkachuk was available. Last year at the deadline, when Jake Gensel was available, a premier elite goal-scoring talent in his prime, available at the deadline, and you're one of, if not the favorites in the Eastern Conference, and you don't pull the trigger there. That's the reason Chris Drury gets a lot of criticism, and he doubled down on this core because you have to remember, too, he's the one that was here when Jacob Trouba got named the captain. He was the one that gave Mika Zibanejad that contract. So as much as I agree with a lot of that, with the fact that it's not fully on him, he also gave Ryan Lindgren another year when the writing was on the wall all of last year that he shouldn't have been here. Jacob Trouba pushed him around this offseason. So I can't get behind entirely that, but I get your point that it did give him less leeway. I mean, that part I can't dispute. Well, let's try to go back to Mike Enwire for life and see if things are working. What's going on?
Hey, that's better?
Yeah, a lot better.
All right. Adam Fox does not have a new NMC yet. It starts July 1st of 25. I say move Fox. He's been playing like ass all season. While he's got value, maybe a change of scenery. Move him and Lindgren. Move them both together. They're a tandem. They've both been playing like shit. Move him. And let Mika live his best life as a DJ. He's clearly not interested in hockey anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't think Mika's going anywhere though, man. I really don't. As much as
No,
I would love
Mika's
Mika
not.
moved, yeah, it's unfortunate.
You know, we're stuck with him, but we can move Fox right now. Fox has value.
I hear you. I hear you, man. Did you have anything else you want to bring up before I go to the next caller?
I think that's the big one. I think Kreider should stay healthy or unhealthy scratch, whatever he is. His upper body injury he's a head case. That's what it is. He's not hurt. I'm not buying it.
I agree with not buying the injury there with Kreider, but I appreciate you calling in, Mike. I really do.
Yep.
You have a good one, man. But I don't know if I could get behind the whole trading Fox thing. I don't think I'm there yet. I get his no move clause kicks in, and if you really, really wanted to make a big change, that is a guy that you could move. And I get that Adam Fox doesn't necessarily look like his Norris self, and truthfully, I don't know if he'll get to that level, but he's still an elite defenseman at the end of the day. Like, we're talking about a guy that was top 3 to what? Maybe now he's at worst top 10, top 15. I mean, the guy's still one of the better defensemen in this league, and it's hard when you're playing with the corpse of Ryan Lindgren, Keandre Miller, who makes peewee hockey mistakes. You have Jacob Trouba on that blue line. I mean, again, I don't like making excuses for him entirely, because at the end of the day, he does need to be better himself, but I don't know if I could get behind the whole move Fox thing. I don't think I'm there, but especially because if you're going to go in a retool direction, this is a guy that I would think you'd want to maybe keep around, because 26 years old, and, you know, by the time this team's ready to win, he'll still be, like, if you take a year or two step back, he'll still be, you know, 28, 29, like, in his prime years. And at that point, you're talking 2 to 3 years left on that deal, to the point where it shouldn't be anchoring you that much, especially with the cap going up. So I don't know if I agree with the whole Fox thing. Again, if the right package comes along, you don't say no, because at the end of the day, there's a price for everyone, but unless it's Connor McDavid, of course. But obviously there's a price that, you know, you would maybe take for Fox, but I can't get behind needing to get him out. To me, there is a laundry list of guys that I'm moving before Adam Fox. I'm easily moving Zibanejad, even though he has a no-move clause. I'm bullying him out before Adam Fox. I am getting Kreider out of here before Fox. Trocheck, I mean, with the way he's been playing lately, I would get him out of town before Adam Fox. I truthfully would. And again, I know that it's a way lesser cap hit, but he's been terrible lately. Panarin is a guy that I would get out of here before Fox. You know, and then obviously when you get to the blue line, he's probably 3rd or 4th, maybe even 5th out of defensemen that I would move out of the guys. I mean, Trouba, Lindgren, Miller, and then maybe Schneider, I would move before Fox. So I don't know if I could get behind that call, Mike. And I appreciate your input, and I appreciate you tuning into the channel, but I'm not on the whole trade Adam Fox thing. That's just me. I'm not there. But let's go to Matt. What's going on?
I'm all right today. Probably got to make this a quick call because I got to go to work in about 10, 15 minutes. But yeah, listen, we're in a tough spot right now. We are, because even Nick brought this up yesterday when he did his call in. Like, you're trying to do start a retool in the middle of a season. What teams are looking to move on from their top guys? Like, that's not going to happen. You're not going to have an equal for equal terms of moves. It's not going to happen. The only way now to do it, and which I agree with, and what should have been done in the offseason, is you start to recoup future assets, because this core and this group is not going to do anything, because, like we said, there is no 1-for-1 move that will automatically turn this group around. It's not going to happen. But I will say this one thing, and I brought this up yesterday on Twitter, because the Rangers have been given a goal golden opportunity to fix a massive mistake they made in the offseason. And this is not even restart the retool. This was about Igor. Because if you're not going to make the playoffs now, and if you're going to start a retool, there's no reason to give Igor an extension. Because if you look at a retool, it's probably going to take at least 2-3 years. And if you're giving Igor an 8-year extension at $11.5 million, that just makes no sense. When one, you're going to waste the first 2 to 3 years of that extension, and then he's only going to get older. That cap hit's going to get worse, and that contract's going to look even way worse than it is when you first sign it. So it makes no sense now to give Igor an extension. It didn't make sense to give him an extension in the first place, but now with all these circumstances popping up, it doesn't make sense. So they got to move on from him. And second of all, because I saw like a bunch of people, and this is going back to the off season, because people are talking about how like cores, because of course there's only one team that wins the cup every year, and teams always come up short. But people are always saying, you got to give this core another chance. You got to give this core another chance. Look at the Colorado Avalanche; they came up short year after year after year. You know what the big difference between this Ranger core is and the Colorado Avalanche core? Their star players in the playoffs showed up. Their star players were not the reason why they came up short in the playoffs, because Nathan McKinnon, Mikko Rantanen, and Cale Makar, with the exception of 1 year of Cale Makar, they were all point per game players in the playoffs. You can't say the same about Panarin, Mika, Fox, Kreider. You can't say that about these guys. And the one thing that the Colorado Avalanche and their leadership core did was they took accountability. When the Avs got knocked out in the 2021 playoffs to the Vegas Golden Knights, Nathan McKinnon got up on that press conference and he came out and said, he didn't come out with the bullshit and say, oh, we're going to learn lessons. It was a good run, yada, yada, yada. He didn't say that. He came out and said, I haven't won a damn thing in this league. I need to be better. We need to be better as a group. Can you imagine any of these clowns saying that? No, they would be the first ones running to the book of excuses like they always do. Accountability. And until this group will never have it because they don't have the type of leaders to do that. But until this locker room has those type of leaders, then they won't achieve anything.
Yeah, and then even Connor McDavid, which you pointed that out, wasn't it on Big Apple Hockey Stream, or I don't remember where, he just absolutely shredded a new asshole to the locker room, or it might have even been Phil who brought it up.
Yeah,
On that stream where Connor McDavid just shredded those guys in the locker room. No one's doing that on this team.
But the quotes from these guys in locker rooms are just, laughable. The part where I really lost it was a couple weeks ago when you have Mika complaining and bitching about his lack of ice time. Then he gets moved up. Well, not even moved up, but he gets his swinger switched around. So instead of Kreider and Smith, he gets put with Laffy and Panarin, who were producing at that time. And then not only does he still play like shit, but he drops the production in Laffy and Panarin's game, and they looked even worse. And then this guy comes to the media and says, "Oh, it's a mental thing. I'm not feeling great," looking for sympathy from the fans. Bro, respectfully, go fuck yourself. If it's a mental thing, why are you complaining about your ice time? If you want to look at what leadership is, I suggest that Mika Zibanejad look over to the borough next to him in Queens, New York, and look at a guy like Francisco Lindor. Because Francisco Lindor at the start of this season came out, he was horrible. Statistically, one of the worst hitters in Major League Baseball. Did he go to the media? Did he go to Anthony DiComo? Did he go to Anthony Martino and complain about his lack of plate appearances and saying, "Oh, I need more at bats"? No, he kept it to himself. He kept showing up after every interview. He kept showing up saying, we need to be better. I need to be better. And until then, he was given that opportunity. And what he did, he exploded. He took off and he had an MVP caliber type season. These guys, no, Fox, Trouba, Mika, no, they're out here dodging the media and making up excuses. It's a joke. And this has got to be blown up. And like I said last night, Drury should not be in charge of making these trades, because when you live and die by this core, you don't deserve that. And not only that, I don't trust him to make those trades and get back the right pieces to start a 2 to 3 year retool. I don't.
Do you have anything else to add to that before I go to anyone else?
No, that's it.
I appreciate you, Matt. Thanks for jumping in. But he's right about that entirely, that this core just does not deserve, or Chris Ray does not deserve to change this core around. He just doesn't. And this leadership group is just pathetic. And the whole thing too with Lindor too, you would hear stories about him showing up to the field early or working on off days. I mean, even when they were in the playoffs and before they went to LA, I mean, the guy, the day they were flying to LA for that series against the Dodgers, he's working at Citi Field on his defense, working and taking at bats. The difference in mentality versus what this group is, where a guy like Zibanejad doesn't want to show up to optional practice. I mean, it's pathetic. It truly is pathetic the way that this group goes about themselves and how they're just collecting their paychecks, not giving a fuck. And honestly, the sad part is that the truth of the matter is, if we're gonna like keep it 1,000 here, sadly, that's what a lot of modern day athletes are like. So it's really hard to even get livid, but at the end of the day, that's where we are. And this group is the epitome of that. But I'm going to wrap this thing up now. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and watching. Don't forget to leave a like if you haven't already. Don't forget to subscribe. Turn on your notifications so you know when I upload or go live next. And I'll see you guys in the next one.